Today, I want to show you something about your scientific sources. A lot of you found articles on the Wakelet, but that's just it. A lot of them were just articles. Let me show you what I mean. So, a lot of time in our humanities classes, we'll look at articles from the New York Times, we'll look at Time Magazine. We have these sources that we look at. But when you're doing scientific research, you have to apply a little bit different rigor to it. So you can see these are articles. That's a National Geographic article, which is a magazine, a collection of articles. But the people who wrote that article didn't do the research for the article. So what you want to find is the actual study, the actual scientific journal of who did this research. So you could look on that site and find their bibliography and figure out where they got their information. But let me show you a quick way to do this. So I'm just in regular, good old Google right here. But if I change this right here to scholar.google.com, Google will actually find those scientific journals for you. So now if I look for light pollution, it's going to bring me scientifically vetted, rigorous studies that are done by primary sources. Now, the first thing I see right away is like, these look great, but I do see a problem. 2004, 2010, and 2010 here. You see the dates. Keep an eye out for that. Well, there's an easy solution. One of the things I start out doing is I'll look for the very most recent. Obviously, in science, you want to find the latest because research builds on each other. Innovation builds on each other. So you want to find newest studies. So now you'll see all of these were conducted in 2020. Light pollution as a driver of insect decline sounds super interesting for what I'm trying to do. I want to look more into that. I can't just take the first one they give me though. So a good trick is, and you always notice I have a bajillion tabs open. This is why I like to two-finger tap, open in a new tab. I take the first 3 or 4 and open them. Not only does this give me time to let them open in the tab while I'm doing this, so you can see some of them will be ready by the time. Now I can scroll down and take a look at what else is there. But right now I've got 3 or 4 pretty interesting topics here to look at that are very, very recent. One of them's already loaded, so I can start there. I want to find out, this is Oxford Academic. I want to find out everything I can about this real quick. Now, the abstract is where they tell you what the article is about. Are these a little more tricky to read than an article in the New York Times? Absolutely. But we're going to work on that later. But for right now, I just want you to know how to find and what to look for when you're trying to find a primary source versus a secondary source. In any kind of scientific research, you want to be sure to find that primary source. And you can see the journal that this came out of is right over here on the left.